Topeka is in shock and a gunman on the loose. We've got details from last night's murder of 2 police officers and a search for the alleged gunman underway. Plus,
a day of remembrance and mourning for the people of Newtown. I'm Erica Ferrari. I'll have that story coming up.
You're watching 13 News This Morning with Amanda Lanham, Chris Fisher, and Drew Schweitzer. 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
good morning and thanks for joining us here on 13 News as we're following breaking news this morning. 2 Topeka police officers shot and killed last night, and ever since that time, about 6 o'clock, the search for the gunman has been underway.
Absolutely a very, very troubling time for this community, of course, with everything going on in Connecticut, and now to come back and have this happen locally. It's just a sad time, and we're going to be covering that story all morning long as new information continues to develop. And of course, we'll have it here on 13 News and of course as it breaks at WIBW.com.
Right now, of course, a top priority for authorities is finding that suspect. He's been identified as David Tiscareno. 13's Justin Surrency has been following authorities on the hunt for him, and he's live with us now from the 300 block of Western Avenue for an update on the search. Justin?
Yeah, we are here at 4th Street and Southwest Western, where police have made their third perimeter of the evening in search for the suspected shooter, allegedly who killed 2 officers tonight. The first perimeter that they set up was on Southwest Buchanan at a home at 417 Southwest Buchanan. The search yielded no suspect there, so later on the leads and possible ulterior places to check led them to South Topeka Boulevard at a apartment complex where the supposed suspect lives. And now we spoke to some neighbors there that lived across from him. The 22-year-old suspect was indeed living there, but they hadn't seen him for 3 weeks. And that search ended around 1 o'clock, where we then were led here at Southwest Western and in 3rd Street. Now we're a block away from the actual home, and we're not going to show you that because officers are urging us to not show where the officers have been positioned to give away anything to the suspect who may be watching the news or newscast. So again, we're a block away. The house is down the street, and we are not going to show that due to not giving anything away for the officers who are trying to apprehend a supposed suspect here at 3rd Street and Southwest Western. There are sirens going off as we speak right now. Everything really ramped up pretty hard and heavy in the last 20 minutes. The KBI police truck came in, a couple officers fully geared up, guns, helmets, bulletproof vests, ready to go on in. Loudspeakers are being used, guessing to talk to the supposed suspect who they believe could be here at the home on Southwest Western. We'll have more details as it all unfolds. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Justin. That's Justin Surrency. He has been covering this since it actually broke around 6 o'clock yesterday evening.
We'll continue to check in with him throughout the morning as they hopefully catch that suspect. As the manhunt is underway, we want to show you again, this is the man that police are looking for, 22-year-old David Edward Tiscareno of Topeka. He's believed to be armed and extremely dangerous.
Authorities say Tiscareno gunned down Corporal David Gogian and Officer Jeff Atherley last night. 13's Sarah Plake has more.
3 officers responded to a call of a suspicious vehicle, a 1999 Toyota Camry at Dillon's Grocery at 1400 Southwest Huntoon at around 6 p.m. Sunday. Shortly after, gunshots were fired, killing Corporal David Gogian and Officer Jeff Atherley, both suffering gunshot wounds to the head. The suspect, David E. Tiscareno, is still at large. Tiscareno was in the vehicle with other passengers, but police have not released those names yet. Why the vehicle was reported suspicious, 13 News didn't have those details, as it is part of the investigation by the Sheriff's Department. Officers searched a residence at 417 Southwest Buchanan, where Tiscareno was believed to be, but officers cleared it. Later on that night, Chief of Police Ron Miller held a press conference, saying this is tragic, unspeakable as to why so many shootings are happening in America.
Is that it's a tragedy. It's clearly beyond words. It's unspeakable almost about why this happens.
A candlelight vigil was immediately held outside the police department to remember the lives of the officers lost. Gogian had just retired from the military a year earlier, and Atherley had only been an officer for 18 months. Psychologists and counselors are available for the police officers and the grieving families.
Thank the Lord this doesn't happen very often, but in this case it has happened. It's a tragedy, and we need to get the suspect in custody, and that's what we're going to be doing next. I'll come back to the right.
All right, that was Sarah Plake reporting. Gogian has a son who worked alongside him at the police department, Brandon Gogian. He and other members of the two officers' families, as well as the police department, are getting emotional support now from fellow officers and Vallejo Behavioral Health Care.
Well, this shooting of our local officers comes 2 days after the mass shooting in Connecticut. Sunday was a day of reflection and remembrance for the people of Newtown.
President Obama met privately with the victims' families and then attended a public memorial. CBS's Aria Ferrari has the story.
Charlotte, Daniel, Olivia.
The tears flowed freely as the people of Newtown, Connecticut remembered those gunned down at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
We gather here in memory of 20 beautiful children and 6 remarkable adults.
President Obama said he brought with him the love and prayers of the nation.
I am very mindful that mere words cannot match the depths of your sorrow, nor can they heal your wounded hearts.
The next painful step in the grieving process begins today when the first 2 funerals will be held here in Newtown.
They were innocent babies, and that's what makes it almost incomprehensible.
Police believe the carnage could have been much worse. They say 20-year-old Adam Lanza had enough bullets to kill just about every child in the school if given enough time.
High-capacity magazine for the rifle, all right, and multiple magazines for the rifle, and multiple magazines for both handguns.
Lanza reportedly ducked into a room and killed himself when he heard police arriving. For their bravery, the police received a standing ovation at Sunday's memorial service.
All right, thanks for that report there. President Obama promised Sunday to do everything within his power to keep America's children safe.
We'll keep following these stories for you this morning. Right now, though, we do want to head to Drew for a check of your weather on this Monday. Drew?
Good morning, guys. Well, we do actually have a little bit of light precipitation happening down to our south and east, some very light rain and maybe even a couple of snow showers mixed in there, but that is moving away from us. We are actually going to see mostly clear skies throughout the day today, and temperatures should be nice and mild as we head into the afternoon hours. Temperatures currently this morning, it is 35 in Topeka, 30 Manhattan, 28 degrees in Concordia, so everyone will be starting off generally in the upper 20s and low to mid 30s this morning. Your forecast for today, we should actually see a lot of sunshine, maybe a little bit of some patchy fog or cloud cover first thing this morning, 33 degrees at 9 o'clock, but then we should be sunny with 44 degrees at lunchtime, an afternoon high of 49 degrees. Guys, snow is actually in the forecast for the middle of the week. I'll have more details on that forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Sports with Kencho Kelly.
Good morning. Yesterday's Chiefs and Raiders game was a contest of 2 teams and a downward tailspin. The Raiders hadn't won since they played the Chiefs last time, 26-16. Since then, they've lost 6 straight out to the black hole, otherwise known as the Oakland Coliseum. Sebastian Janikowski getting a workout yesterday, the game's first points. Here, a 20-yard chip shot to make it 3-0. Close to the end of the first quarter there. Chiefs trying to get into rhythm. Brady Quinn drops back to pass on 3rd and 13, and he throws it to a guy on a black jersey. He can't quite do that. The Raiders come up with the INT. That leads to this. A 50-yarder here by Seabass himself. Just into the second quarter, makes it 6-0, knocks it right through the middle of the upright. And just a few seconds before halftime, Seabass at it again. Gets his boot on this one, a 57-yarder. No big deal, 9-0 here at the break. The Chiefs just 10 rushing yards on the afternoon as the Raiders shut out Kansas City for the second time ever, 15-0. Romeo obviously not happy.
Offensively, we couldn't get much done at all. Couldn't run the ball, couldn't throw the ball. Got into the red zone and couldn't get any points. Defensively, they tried to hang in there, but we missed too many tackles, and on third down, a couple of third downs, we weren't able to get off the field and allow them to keep drives alive and end up in field goals.
Well, the KU women were at home yesterday taking on Prairie View A&M. Bonnie said that they were the best 2-4 team coming in. She was having a word with an official, probably wishing her a happy holidays coming in. Lady Panthers out of the gate strong. Jeanette Jackson over to Latia Williams for the baseline jumper. 20-17 KU. Still Hawk ball here. Carolyn Davis out to Natalie Knight over to Angel Goodrich. She's good from three-point land. Hawks up 6 at that point. Next trip down the court, Monica Engelman drives, drops a dime to Angel. She hits again from her sweet spot, wearing out that spot on the hardwood. 27-20 KU. They would win 72-60. The Jayhawks wrap up non-con play Friday night at Cal. Over in Manhattan, Deb Patterson's club taking on the Miners of UTEP. And it would get ugly for them quickly. Brittany Chambers stops and pops a three-pointer. She'd leave the leg, though, here with a leg injury just 4 minutes in. Cats in love with the three-point line. Shantae Karen over to Haley Tejada. She hits from distance using that long-distance calling card. Then it's UTEP's Kelly Willingham finds a neat Steinberger for the layup off the pick and roll. And the Miners hit their free throws down the stretch. They win 52-50. The Cats will head to Sin City to take on Texas A&M on Wednesday. That'll do it for sports. For all the latest sports scores and information, head to WIBW.com/sports.
All right, thanks for that, Kench.
All right, we want to bring you up to date at this developing situation at 3rd and Western in Topeka, as authorities have had the suspect in a Topeka police officer shooting surrounded at a home there at 3rd and Western all morning long. You can see them now. They've been calling for him to come out. It appears they do have someone on the ground. At first, a few moments ago, we said it was David. That's what authorities thought. We're not sure, so we're using caution before identifying him. There were other people in the home before, so this could be another member from the home, or it could be David having come out and surrendered to authorities.
Yes, this is a live look of the 300 block of Western. We have been on the scene for a little over an hour now, just about an hour and a half, where we initially heard reports that the suspect was barricaded inside the home. 2 other people have came out. This person that you're looking at right now that is being worked with by police appears to be a third person. We don't know if that is the suspect that killed the 2 police officers, that allegedly killed the 2 police officers last night in the Dillon's parking lot in central Topeka. But there is the map of the location. You'll see it's between 2nd and 3rd, obviously, and Western, just blocks away from the Dillon's store where all of the crimes and the murders went down. So again, this is a live look at 3rd and Western. David Tiscarino is the man that they are looking for. Officers have been communicating, or at least trying to communicate with David, who other people say that is in the house. And of course, we're just getting this information to you as it comes. We have all the details that we're following from Justin Cernsey on Twitter.
Yes, we have been following throughout the morning, as you just said. And he did talk a little bit earlier about gunshots being heard in the area. We're not sure if anyone was shot. We're not sure if the gunman maybe turned it on himself. We don't know any of that information yet. Police did continue to talk to him over a loudspeaker, trying to coax him peacefully from the home, telling him to come out with his hands up. When this man came out a few minutes ago, police had thrown tear gas into the home. They'd given him a 5-minute time limit at 6 o'clock. And when he didn't meet it, they threw tear gas into the home. And then this man that we just saw came out of the home. And so we have yet to identify that person as the suspect or as just another member in the home. We're still following that. But we have via Twitter, we've got Justin Cernsey on the scene, and he's been updating us from that scene there as we see the live pictures. And we're told that a dog has gone into the home. So they're clearing the scene now, trying to make sure that everyone's out of the house. And hopefully this has come to an end. I know it's been really tough on the community and the law enforcement community since those officers passed away yesterday.
It has been extremely tough. Yes, absolutely. Of course, this is a big deal, and we'll be continuing to cover it. And of course, for all the breaking news, you can go on WIBW.com, where we'll have updates as soon as they come down to us. It is 6:21. We'll be right back. A manhunt has just ended for the suspect in the shooting of 2 Topeka police officers. We're live with an update coming up on this Monday morning, December the 17th, 2012.
You're watching 13 News This Morning with Amanda Lanham, Chris Fisher, and Drew Schweitzer. 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
It is 6:29. Good Monday morning to you. You're watching 13 News this morning. Of course, we've been following breaking news since it happened around 6:09 yesterday, late afternoon, early evening in the 1400 block of Huntoon, where 2 officers were murdered inside a parking lot at the Topeka Dillon store in central Topeka. And now we have new information for you.
Yeah, ever since that time, authorities have been tracking down this suspect that they've had in mind, David Tescarino. It led them this morning to a home at 3rd and Western, and it appears to have just ended. We've got Justin Surrency live on the scene, and he will bring us the latest on what is happening there now. Good morning, Justin.
Go. Yeah, we're here at the 300 block of Southwest Western, the 3rd perimeter that has been secured by police tonight in search for the suspect, 22-year-old David Tescarino. Now, everything was fairly calm until about 5 a.m. here when the KBI armored truck showed up. 2 officers in full gear, helmets, guns, bulletproof vests and all, came over to the home where police have surrounded the perimeter. Lieutenant Ronald Gish also got on the loudspeaker and was talking to David Tescarino, urging him to come out, telling him, if you come out with your hands up, you will not be harmed. You are under arrest. Please come out. Eventually, after about an hour of talks and negotiations with David Tescarino, they gave him a 5-minute warning. Now, this was after two people in the home came out and told police officers, told Ronald Gish that David indeed was in the home. After that 5-minute warning was up for David, they told him if he didn't come out, then they would go in, and he had a last chance attempt to surrender himself. After that was said, we heard several gunshots ring out in front of the home, and unsure at that point if David was there or not. They were still yelling for David after the gunshots were fired. We have no confirmation if any of the officers were hit, if it was officers firing at David or David firing at officers. That has yet to be confirmed. What we do know is after that, those gunshots, it appeared to be who was David Tescarino, out on the porch with officers in handcuffs. At that point, we didn't see any movements from David, no confirmation as to his condition, but ambulances were rushed down the street and took that suspect, whether it was David or not. We believe it was the negotiations with David stopped after that point, and they took him to the ambulance. And right now you can hear the sirens going. Officers are taking off and leaving. There's still a crime scene here, of course. We'll get the latest to you as soon as we know and get confirmation from the police. But again, here it looks as if the standoffs and the surrounding of perimeters here around Topeka, Kansas, in search for the suspect, 22-year-old David Tescarino, is now over for the time being, guys.
That is 13's Justin Surrency, and I will add he has been on the clock since 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. He has been going full bore. Of course, this story broke around 6 o'clock last night, and he is live on the scene. He's not put down anything or has not taken a break since this started. So
following it for over 12 hours there. We do want to take you back to set this up for you. The 2 Topeka police officers were gunned down in the suspected shooter. We told you hopefully that just ended there as he has been caught. They were looking for 22-year-old David Edward Tescarino of Topeka, and authorities believe now that he has been in custody. They believe that he is the one who killed 2 Topeka police officers.
Yeah,
yesterday.
those fallen officers are 50-year-old Corporal David Gogian, I should say, and 29-year-old Officer Jeff Atherley. They were among officers who responded to a suspicious vehicle call just after 6 last night at the Dillon store at Huntoon and Lane. Upon arrival, police say a suspect in that suspicious vehicle opened fire. The 2 officers were taken to the hospital where they later died. A 3rd officer involved in the response was not hurt.
Officer Atherley was new to the police force, joining in April of last year. Corporal Gogian had been with the department for 8 years, and he retired from the military just about a year ago. His son is also a member of the Topeka Police Department. Topeka Police Chief Ron Miller said he knew Corporal Gogian well.
He was quite a guy. Age 50 doesn't make him to be a young person. He has spent his life in the service of his country and in the city of Topeka, and he's quite a guy. And Officer Atherley is just getting started. They both have families that have to be dealt with, and we have tried to do our best to do that.
Certainly our thoughts and prayers with the families and law enforcement officials in the aftermath of that.
Absolutely. And Justin Cerency once again just reported that they did take the suspect into custody. He was shipped off to a hospital in an ambulance, presumably shot. But we'll get back to you when all of that is confirmed for us. But it is 6:34 now. We'll head on over to the Weather Center right now and get a quick glance at the weather forecast for today. Meteorologist Drew Schweitzer. Hey, Drew.
Good morning, guys. We're looking live outside this morning from our Parish Hotel's Holodome camera on top of Huntoon Hill. It's just about 6:35 on this Monday morning. We're starting off with some cloud cover this morning, but we are dry, and then the clouds will eventually move out, and I do expect a lot of sunshine this afternoon. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Capitol Federal Live Storm Tracker, and we are showing actually a couple of little sprinkles, maybe mixed with a few flurries in far southeastern Kansas early this morning, down here around the Chanute area, moving over towards Pittsburgh. That is moving away from us. So this pocket of light precipitation in southeastern Kansas will not affect our area, as it will be moving out. And then behind it, we will see the sunshine working its way in a little bit later on this morning. Temperatures currently in the upper 20s and low 30s. It is 33 right now in Topeka, 30 in Manhattan, 31 in Emporia, and Concordia starting off at 29 degrees. So a little on the chilly side to start things off on this Monday morning. And again, we will see some clouds first thing, but then I do expect us to break out into some sunshine by late morning, early afternoon. 38 degrees at 9 o'clock, 44 and sunny by lunchtime, and then we will see an afternoon high of 49 degrees under clear skies. West winds throughout the day today, 5 to 10 miles per hour. We'll have a more detailed look at your weather forecast coming up next on 13 News this morning. Looks like our first accumulating snowfall of the season is on the way for the middle of the week.
All right, thanks for that, Drew. A rollover accident left 2 people injured and a vehicle lodged upside down in the front porch of a home early this morning. Officers were called to an injury rollover accident in the 200 block of West 21st around 1:45 this morning. 2 people were taken to the hospital, both with life-threatening injuries. Authorities say the car struck a gas meter, forcing residents in the area to be evacuated. The car landed upside down, partially lodged in the front porch of a home. Cause of the accident has not yet been released. Well, there has been some movement in the fiscal cliff negotiations.
And Sunday was a day to remember for the people of Newtown, Connecticut. Those are stories topping national headlines this morning. President Obama attended a memorial service in Newtown, and he said he brings with him the thoughts and prayers of the nation, but said he knows there are no words that can heal their wounded hearts. The grieving will continue today with the first funeral services being held. The Newtown shootings have reignited the debate over gun control. During the president's speech at the memorial, he said the nation must do more to prevent these acts of violence. Senator Dianne Feinstein says she will introduce new legislation which would limit the number of bullets per gun clip. But Republican Congressman Louis Gohmert says that more guns, not less, are needed. He said that if the principal of Sandy Hook Elementary had a rifle in her office, then some children might be saved. And there has been some movement in the fiscal cliff negotiations. Sources say Speaker of the House John Boehner's latest proposal includes new taxes on people making more than $1 million a year. That is the first time he has expressed a willingness to impose new taxes on the wealthy. In return, the Speaker is looking for more than $1 trillion in cuts to benefit programs such as Medicare. You can stay updated on all these stories throughout the day, as well as other international news headlines, by visiting WIBW.com.
And we're going to talk with meteorologist Drew Schweitzer coming up after the break and get your workweek forecast. Stay with us. You're watching 13 News this morning.
Watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
Good morning and welcome back to 13 News this morning. It is 6:51 here on this Monday.
And we've been keeping you updated on this standoff with the suspect in the shooting of 2 Topeka police officers just coming to an end not long ago this morning at 3rd and Western in Topeka. We've had Justin Cerency live at the scene, and we want to check in with him now for the latest there. Justin?
Yes, we're at the 300 block of Southwest Western, where officers just wrapped off a very lengthy standoff with who we believe to be David Tescarino, the 22-year-old suspect who allegedly may have shot and killed 2 officers yesterday in Topeka. Now, what happened here, this is the 3rd place of interest for the officers tonight. The first one at Southwest Buchanan, the second one at South Topeka Boulevard, and this one now at Southwest Western. Around 5 o'clock, things really ramped up here. KBI vehicle showed up and went into the entryway of the home here on Southwest Western. Also, Lieutenant Ronald Gish spent about an hour talking, negotiating with David Tescarino and whoever was in the home. Eventually, 2 people did come out of the home with their hands up. That was not David Tescarino. He was still in the building. Lieutenant Gish was pleading with him, telling him to come out and surrender, put your hands up, and you won't be harmed. I gave him a 5-minute warning. That 5 minutes went down to 3, then 1, then finally, basically, an ultimatum telling him he needs to do it now. He needs to surrender now and come out. Then we heard shots fired, 3 shots at once, and then another 4 or 5, so maybe 7 or 8 total shots fired. We don't know if those shots came from the officers or from David himself. We don't know if David was shot at the moment either. All we do know is that eventually a suspect was on the porch, face down, lying on the ground. Couldn't tell if he was moving or not, if he was injured. Police then took that suspect into an ambulance. We're assuming that possibly could have been David Tescarino. All the negotiations stopped after that, so the best bet would be that it was him and that he would be in custody. We're waiting for confirmation from the police on that. We'll know more details as the day evolves, as the story evolves, but they have basically started to close up shop here. Officers leaving and going on their way and leaving the presence here at Southwest Western, guys.
Thanks for that, Justin. We've been following the story all morning long.
And all evening, really, as it began almost 13 hours ago now. Tescarino was the suspect in the shooting of those 2 officers. They have been identified as Corporal David Gogan and Officer Jeff Atherley of the Topeka Police Department. Both of those men shot in the head last night at the Dillons in the 1400 block of Southwest Huntoon. They were just responding to a report of a suspicious vehicle. And then all of this happened and that manhunt began.
There's so many questions that still need answered, and of course we're for sure that those answers will at least start trickling in today. And of course, go to WIBW.com, follow all of our social media, the Twitter and the Facebook accounts, and we will update you as soon as that information becomes available. Again, they have had the suspect in custody now, and he is en route to a local hospital, if not there already. His condition is not yet known. It is 6:55 now. Let's head on over to the weather wall. Check with meteorologist Drew Schweitzer now. Hey, Drew.